The brokerage started back in the early 80s, and my dad, Dave Deeks, started a brokerage in the basement of his home, and ultimately worked and did very well for himself, building up a book of business through friends and family and local church communities. He's a music director at the Church of the Nazarene, and ultimately had a lot of connections within those church circles that ultimately built his book of business. In 1995, in conversation with a good friend of his at the time, Serge Lapalme, Serge was well established within the insurance industry and had been a leader of several different insurance companies and so on, but they got looking at my dad's book of business and said, for a guy working out of the basement of his home, you've done very, very well for yourself, and I'd like to see why. What were some of the common denominators? And so in that process, they determined that it was the type of clients were the reason why my dad was succeeding. They were different. They drove moderate cars. There weren't any fraudulent claims. You were people who paid their bills on time, people who had a certain behavioral patterns and lifestyle that really reflected positively on the insurance risk, not meaning to, but ultimately did. And so the idea was born, and through partnership with the Evangelical Fellowship of Canada, they were able to introduce a program that was able to give preferred pricing to those who are members of an evangelical church. So really, from that humble beginning, we started at policy number 1, and over the years have expanded the program to be across Canada now, available in Alberta and New Brunswick and certainly Ontario. And the bigger it gets, ultimately, the more impact it has with the insurance company, the better the pricing they can get, ultimately the stronger the coverage that they can offer, the more partners that we have available to us. So it's really been exciting to see grow.
You know, I think that to be entrepreneurial today is one of the richest blessings that one can have. But it requires 3 things. It requires your sensitivity to receive a vision. It requires your dedication to a mission. But most importantly, it has to be energized by your passion, the love for what you do.
They are prepared to invest back in something that's I'm passionate about, which in our case is international missions. They're investing back in what I'm passionate about. I appreciate that.
It doesn't really have that corporate feel. It feels like the person I'm talking to on the other end really has my best interest there.
What I appreciate most about Deeks Insurance is that they're personal, that they respond immediately, and they have your best interest in mind.
I did have a car accident a year ago, not my fault, non-fault, and phoned them, and they were so helpful in working through and helping me make my claim. And the other thing that impresses me is their annual reports that I get them through the insurance company, up to date, knowing what they expect. So I like their service, keeping me informed, and also in making a claim, they were very, very helpful.
The thing I like most about Deeks Insurance is the service that they give you one-on-one and their quick response.
They just really are top-notch with staff. Their level of integrity and professionalism is really is the best.
What I appreciate most about Deeks is their integrity. They have integrity in terms of the initial pricing, but integrity in terms of follow-up service as well. And integrity is something that registers very high on my radar screen.
At the end of the day, we want people to hang up that phone and say, you know what, that is not what I expected from the insurance industry, and man, I want to tell other people about that. I'm excited about that.